Good morning. Welcome to day 4, the final day of my Great Glen Way. From here in Drumnadrochit to Inverness at the finish. It's 6 o'clock and I had a great sleep, but I'm not ready to leave just yet because right next door is a cafe that's open and serving hot breakfast sandwiches. Right, I'm ready to go now. I've had a lawn roll, which is square sausage if you don't know, and ketchup, and I've got some food for the rest of the day, so let's get on with it. Now, it's a pretty long day, the final day to Inverness. It's 19 miles, and although the guidebook, or rather the website, says that it's mostly flat, it does go up to 400 metres, so it's not that flat. Although the going should be easy. It's 10 to 7 and I'm not sure how long it's going to take me today with my legs. They feel alright, but they were achy when I first got up. It could take between 8 and 10 hours, so I've made an early start anyway. The Loch Ness Centre's here, an exhibition at Drumnadrochit, and if you believe in Nessie, it's the place to come. And it's raining. Showers this morning, hopefully brightening up later on. It's chucking it down. So I'm going to shelter under this tree for a few minutes. Wait for it to pass. Hopefully not too long. I'm a bit further on. It's still raining. It's been raining about an hour. And just across the bay there, on that peninsula sticking out into the loch, are the remains of Urquhart Castle. But I'm surprised I can see that today. I'm not going to get the views I've had so far on the walk today, that's for sure. Oh well, keep going. Up into another forest now. It has stopped raining though. Someone had been messing around with the signpost back there by the Urquhart Castle viewpoint. There's like A4 laminated sheets saying this way, that way. You tend to ignore those when you're on the trail and just follow the light blue official way markers, you know. Sent me on a right flipping loop. I've done about an extra 25 minutes of up and down through those gates and fields and stuff. It's not what you need on a day like today when it's raining. 19 miles, probably 20 miles now, but keep going. Almost up to the top of the highest point on today's walk. I think I'm about 300 plus metres now, so not far to go. Soon be time for a break. Well, I did try to have a short stop there near the highest point, but there's too many midges around. It was uncomfortable, so managed to just grab a chocolate bar and take off my waterproofs. It's misty, but it's not raining, and it's quite clean, fresh air. And cool compared to the last few days, so yeah, topped up, keep going. So I'm 6 miles in now, 6.5 miles, and it's 10 o'clock, so roughly 3 hours, roughly 6.5 miles. That's not bad considering all that ascent and the rain, and it was quite slippy underfoot and messing about with gates earlier on. So yeah, even though I'm still in the cloud up here, it does feel a bit more open, certainly a lot more easy going. It's a forestry track, and it's going to be more or less level now. Oh, a shaft of sunlight. It's going to be more or less level, gently rising or gently falling for several miles, probably, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 miles, something like that. and then finally the last bit descends down into Loch Ness. So the going should be much better now. It's stopped raining, hopefully it'll brighten up, or I'll get below the cloud and we can have some views or something. And I'm feeling much better than I did about an hour ago. That's why I didn't film, I was in a bad mood. That's looking back where I've just come from out of the forest and down, and there's quite a few changes to the route in there on the way down. I just followed the blue way markers and there's plenty of those, are very clear, but my GPS was telling me I was off track, so I checked a couple of times, and I think I benefited this time because the old GPS points, I don't know how old they are, they were zigzagging me through forest and I was just marching along that straight bit of track, so I made up a bit of time. And then you get to this road and some views are starting to open up a little bit, so I've obviously dropped elevation, or the clouds are lifting, or both. Great. And back to regular Great Glen Way postmarker. That narrow wooded path where the last gate was, that lasted for about a mile, and in that section was where there's a cafe you might have seen on other people's videos, sort of a wild cafe, rustic, in the woods, with wooden planks with hand painted signs and stuff like that, or trinkets hanging from the trees, that sort of thing. So I walked up there just to get a coffee and hoping I could sit indoors if I could, away from the midges, but there's nobody around, it's deserted, and it just said to order, make your way up to the house, and I thought, oh, that's gonna be like half an hour, isn't it, just for a cup of coffee, and then I'm gonna have to sit outside and drink it. So I carried on, and now there's road walking. Well, I can finally have a sit down and a rest. Just over 4 hours, 9.5 miles done, 9.5 miles left, so halfway exactly. And we've got a bit of a view, which is very nice. What we don't have are any benches at all. Since Drumnadrochit, no benches. So I'm sitting in a passing place. Come on, Inverness Council, a few benches please. Anyway, time for something to eat and a well-earned drink. It's brightening up a bit, warming up, and off the road, hooray! Back onto the track. That's where I came from, away in the distance, and the views are opening up a little bit now. And down in the dip over there somewhere should be Loch Ness. Well, I'm at 14 miles now, so last 5 miles, and shortly after I made that comment about benches, I did come across 2 actually, nicely positioned, quite inviting, but I just had my break. But now I need one, and there isn't one, and so I've just seen 2 in 14 miles, so I'm going to have another whinge. So the last 5 miles. And a few signs that we're nearing a town or a city, a few bikers and families walking, and actually a bit of dumped kit by the side, like new boots and new billy cans and things like that. Possibly people doing the Great Glen Way, coming the opposite direction with 2 heavy rucksack and dumping stuff out, which is just littering. It's terrible, isn't it? But anyway. So yeah, and your mind turns now in the last few miles to onward plans and what are you going to do tonight and tomorrow, and what are the plans? And pretty soon I'll be down the hill and into traffic and streets and that kind of thing. But you have to remind yourself, don't you, that coming to the end of another adventure. It's a moment to enjoy, even if your body's aching and your feet are hurting like mine. And there's Inverness, down there, the capital of the Highlands and the end of the Great Glen Way. Last 4 miles. I thought there must have been a bench around here somewhere. And there is. This is a boots and socks off break. Oh, that was a lovely break, just the type I was hoping for. The bench was lovely and warm as well, and all the grass dry around it. Good, so refreshed. I'm looking down onto the city. It's lovely and warm, not too warm, there's a nice breeze, and the forecast said it's going to rain at the end, but oh well. So far so good. I'm into the city now. When you get to these steps, it pops you out by the Caledonian Canal again. This is the final section where the Loch Ness goes out to sea. There's a different channel for the canal compared to the river. The last section of canal, of course, was back at Fort Augustus a while back. So at this point where you meet the canal, if you've borrowed one of those keys, you have to turn left down there, because the canal office is 1.3 miles and then 1.3 miles back here, so 2.6 miles. That's nearly an hour's extra walking. Who wants that on top of this day? So I'm either going to come back later or tomorrow morning or post it to him. So the way ahead turns right down that way, and there's about 2 miles left to the finish. The way goes over this Victorian pedestrian suspension bridge, and this has been a whole route full of beautiful bridges, hasn't it? And this one is no exception. Here's another one of those suspension bridges for which the city's famous. It's about twice as big, I think, this one, spanning the River Ness. Now, I don't know why, but the signs take you all the way along the riverbank to that modern traffic bridge. But I know that the castle, where the end of the way is up that steep grassy bank there. So, when you get to this church on your right, you can just go over there and then up that steep road, and it's a shortcut to the finish, which is just up there. So I've arrived at Inverness Castle, which is the finish of the way. So here's the view from the castle, and right up there in the distance in the hills beyond, that's where the way comes through. That's the cathedral. And then the grand old hotel buildings on the other side as the Ness flows out to the sea. Yes, it's 4 o'clock. I made it to the end of the Great Glen Way here at Inverness Castle, and that's the trail headstone. My feet are hurting. And if you've made it all the way to now, well done, you deserve a thumbs up from me. Excellent. Well, the end of another adventure. A cracker, wasn't it? And there's only one thing left for me to do, and it's just across the road there to that lovely pub to go and get that pint that I promised myself. Come on. What a cracking little pub. That was a long way to walk for a pint of Guinness, wasn't it? Cheers.